everyone, so before we get started with this video, I just wanted to give you a couple of disclaimers. One, if you hear any noise in the background, it's my baby. He's sleeping in his little mama-roo thing. I'll show you. You see, he is moving around, and he's very theatrical when he sleeps sometimes, so he makes noises and all that jazz. So, yep. Also, the sun's out, so the lighting sucks. I mean, the sun's out and the lighting sucks. The angle of the sun coming in is weird, and so I don't know, with the shadows and all that stuff, it's just making the movie look weird. So I'm sorry about that, but it is what it is. We're just gonna have to work with it until I figure out how to make lighting better. All right. So this is going to be a non-spoiler review on the book Volition by Lilly Paradis. And here's what the cover looks like. I have it on my Kindle. It's the Empire State Building. And it's a very ominous cover. So anyways, at the beginning of the book we meet Tate McKenna, who is running away from her past. She's going to New York City to live with her best friend. And she's running away from not just her past, but a guy named Jesse, who she believes is her soulmate. And on the plane, on the way to New York City, she meets Hayden Rockefeller, who changes her life in a different way. That is like a brief description of what this book's about. If you read the back of the book, there's really not, the synopsis really doesn't tell you anything what this book is about. So and I think Lilly wants you to go into this book not knowing what any of it's about, just to go in blind. So that is my vague, very less non-descriptive synopsis of this book. But anyways, this book is told in two perspectives, and by one narrator, which is Tate McKenna. The two perspectives is McKenna's past and her present. And they both intertwine, and it's really interesting how that happens, because something will happen in the present and then she'll it'll be explained in the past perspective. So I really enjoyed that, because it's kind of like, I don't know, you kind of get the whole backstory of her story, her life, and all that stuff, without being like bombarded by all this information then going into the present. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's explaining it without giving too much information or overwhelming you with a lot of information. So anyways, there's also a note at the beginning of this book that Lilly explains to you that she doesn't like love triangle books, but she had to write this one. And it is a love triangle book, I would say, but it's not like the typical love triangle book, because there's not that much drama that you will find in a love triangle book in this one. Because it's between, the love triangle obviously is Jesse, Hayden, and Tate. And you don't really see Jesse a lot in this book. His presence isn't really relevant or there. And I feel like Hayden is mostly in this book, is more in this book than Jesse is. So it's not like you don't see a bunch of fights and all that kind of stuff, and it's mostly, if anything, it's all happening within Tate. If you understand what I'm trying to say, I don't know, but it's not like your typical love triangle book. That is all I'm trying to say. Then there's a really heavy, dark theme of death, because Tate isn't your average character. She's different. She is really obsessed with death, and she's very dark and ominous and stuff like that. And it's not my cup of tea, but it made it for an interesting character. It really did. So that leads into my rating of this book. I give it a 4 out of 5. For the reason behind this, I only give 5s out to books that really truly emotionally grab me. And this book did not really grab me so much, only because Like I said, like Tate's very dark and ominous and like into death, and I'm not, and I could not relate to her, but I could respect and appreciate her because she is such a different character, and all the characters in this book are so different, and I appreciate that. You know, they're not my cup of tea. They're a little dark and horror for me, but I appreciated it. Because sometimes the darkness could kind of got annoying in a way, I'm not gonna lie, just because it's just like, okay, we get it, Tate, you love death, you love the darkness, you think there's a dark side to you, blah blah blah, let's move on, let's move forward. But at the same time, like I said, I appreciated it, because, you know, she's not like your cliche contemporary character, and yeah, that's all I have to say. I give it a 4 out of 5. It was a really good book, and I suggest it to everybody. I really feel a lot of people would give this a 5 out of 5. It's just me, I didn't. So anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.